the plus point of BRICS is that they represent, probably over 40% of the world's population, 35% of the world's GDP. The minus points are also there, because these cover huge geographies. The name of Saudi Arabia had been listed as a new member, but right from July this year, it has been saying that it's thinking about it and thinking about it. So it is still at the thinking about it stage for joining BRICS, and that is reported to be largely because of US pressure.
Hello and welcome to the Secretariat. I'm Mahua Venkatesh and I'm joined by Sushma Ramachandran, our consulting editor. Great to have you on our show, Sushma. Welcome.
Thank you, Mahua.
So this week, of course, 6th and 7th, we had the BRICS Summit and, it made headlines for many reasons. Of course, if I may just start, I'll read out what Guardian wrote. I was just going through the net and the kind of reportage it had in the international media. The Guardian actually came up with this statement. It said, as the US retreats from the international stage, the most powerful political alliance in the global south has come together in Brazil this week, and it's trying to revive and reinvent a collective approach to the world's problems, which itself shows that BRICS as a bloc is coming of age. We had the declaration. Some are saying it is not what was being expected, but at the same time, there have been many on many issues they've actually come to a consensus. What's your take, Sushma?
Well, I think as far as India is concerned, and I think we look at it from that perspective first, India should be satisfied really with the outcome. The declaration, first of all, I think one thing which the media has highlighted is the fact that it has condemned the terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir and mentioned the Pahalgam attack. The second thing is that it has talked about the reform of UN institutions, and it has very strongly advocated that the UN Security Council should now include new members like Brazil and India. So it has made a very strong
push. Which is a very important message.
Exactly. For India, India has been pushing for it. So both Brazil and India, which are important members of BRICS, should be included and to represent the global south. And the third thing, of course, is that throughout the declaration, it has talked about the issues of the global south. The fact that the global south has not been represented in the UN and not represented in other areas, the fact that Africa has not been well represented. So it is the themes that not just India wanted, of course, but what Prime Minister Narendra Modi had said in its address to BRICS.
Right.
Because he has talked about
Absolutely.
it, as you are well aware.
And also before he went in for the BRICS Summit, he stopped over in Ghana, where also he kind of underlined the fact that Global South needs, and the issues of Global South, those issues need to be amplified. So Global South has been kind of a uniform theme all through, right?
Yes. This particular trip of his, I mean, apart from BRICS, I mean, as you pointed out, Ghana, he then went to Trinidad and he went to Argentina, and then subsequently was Namibia. Now, these are all countries of the global south. And especially, as you pointed out, Ghana and Namibia, both of them are in Africa, and this is an area that India is looking at, because we have to look at areas which are resource rich. Both Ghana and Namibia are resource rich.
In fact, if you look at the BRICS bloc, as such, it's extremely mineral rich, energy rich. We have now, of course, we have Iran, we have Russia. Iran is a new member.
Yes, absolutely. Indonesia is also an energy producer. So there are, and of course, there are countries which are now becoming which are showing interest in becoming members of BRICS, and these include Belarus, these include Malaysia, Nigeria. Nigeria again is an energy producer.
Absolutely.
So these are, very rightly you're saying, this entire, the BRICS members, or the BRICS entire geography is extremely resource rich, and probably that is why the other developed countries are looking at it, especially the United States, as a sort of more threatening emerging power center. And of course, we know that the US President Donald Trump has
Absolutely.
threatened
Yeah.
to impose 10% tariffs on it. And he made that threat earlier after the Russia summit in 2024. He said, we're going to impose 100% tariffs on countries which would be BRICS countries, which are going ahead for de-dollarization.
Right. Absolutely.
And now he talks about 10% tariffs on countries, BRICS countries, which align with anti-American interests.
Like you said, the fact that Donald Trump is taking note of this summit itself shows that the summit or the BRICS as a bloc is sort of important and is coming of age and coming as a formidable bloc.
Absolutely. And I think we have to remember, of course, the plus point of BRICS is that they represent, probably over 40% of the world's population, 35% of the world's GDP. The minus points are also there, because these cover huge geographies. These are Brazil is in Latin America, India and China are in Asia, then you have South Africa in between. So there the geographies are different. Ideologically also,
Absolutely.
these countries are different. Now you have the new entrants, which are Iran, Ethiopia, Egypt, the UAE and Indonesia. These are all ideologically different. Iran, of course, is Islamic Republic, and then you have Egypt, which is some kind of a dictatorship, you would say. So, and India being a democracy. So, ideologically, there's vast differences. So that is, of course, the minus point. The question now remains is that in the future, can they arrive at a consensus on critical issues and therefore emerge as an alternative pole to developed countries led by, the United States?
Also, I wanted to ask you another thing, Sushma. The fact that the BRICS bloc is expanding. We saw a huge expansion in 2023, and now, of course, there are many other countries which are waiting in the wings to sort of get enrolled or get inducted in the club. Now, how do you see this happening, considering that the US is putting pressure on countries not to associate with any un-American sort of bloc or a group?
Yeah, that's a good question, Mahua, because there is no doubt that this kind of pressure has had an impact. The name of Saudi Arabia had been listed as a new member, but right from July this year, it has been saying that it's thinking about it. So it is still at the thinking about it stage for joining BRICS, and that is reported to be largely because of US pressure. Similarly, Argentina was planning to become a member of BRICS, but it ruled out this possibility last year. And although it was not stated, but probably implied, that this is bound to have been for fear of the problems being faced with the United States. However, there are many other countries which are not really so concerned about this. A country like Vietnam, for instance, has come in as one of the partner countries this time. There are 10 partner countries, Belarus and Cuba, Nigeria. These are all prepared to be partners, which means that they are interested in becoming members ultimately. And Vietnam, for instance, has had a trade deal which looks rather unequal. The US has imposed 25% tariffs and, not allowed any tariffs. They're getting duty-free entry into that country. So there are countries which are prepared to face the pressure from the United States and don't feel that there's much difference. It's not going to make much of a difference. So as a result, there are media reports that about 30 countries have sought entry into the bloc, despite all the pressure from the United States. So definitely it is being looked at as the next big power center.
And considering what you said, I mean, it's mineral rich, it's energy rich. So, I mean, the future does belong to the BRICS bloc.
Yeah.
And also the fact that the next, in 2026, India is going to chair the BRICS bloc. So what do you think, how do you think India is going to really take it forward? What would be India's focus as the BRICS chair?
I think they have given an indication on this time round. The Prime Minister had said, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had said over there that we must amplify the voice of the global South. And the second thing, first of all, as I said, to amplify the voice of the global South and to make sure that the global South's the issues are raised at multilateral fora.
Right.
And the second thing, of course, is reform of UN agencies, the multilateral development banks, the World Trade Organization. These are all organizations that have been dominated by the developed world, and there needs to be an effort made to ensure that the developing economies and emerging economies have their say. So I think these are the two areas of focus that they're going to have. And I think they would also try to ensure that no ruffling of any feathers. Try to ensure that the United States is assured that this is not meant as an aggressive bloc against American interests.
Which I think China also came up with a statement saying that we do not seek any confrontation.
Absolutely, yes. And Russia also made that kind of similar kind of a statement.
Absolutely. Right, so that was it for today. Thank you, Sushma. See you soon next time.